Hey people, so what I thought I'd do today is read you a little something I wrote. As you probably remember, one of the videos I did on my channel was a video about Roxanne from a Goofy movie. I quite like that film. I quite like Roxanne's character. I like the bond between her and Max. So I have written my own little story, simply called Max and Roxanne, and I'd like to read it for you now. This is the prologue. Max. Max had heard that sound somewhere before. Max. Not in real life, but in a very sweet dream. Max. And as he climbed up the stairs and into his bedroom, he knew that dream was coming true. Roxanne? Said Max. A beautiful angel of mercy lay on Max's bed. She had magnificent red hair, like an ocean of fire. She had a tiny mole under her left eye that truly offset her beauty. She had an elegant white gown on, pretty much the same exact one Max had always seen in his dream. Yes, it was the lovely Roxanne. Never in history to Max had there ever been a sweeter, smarter, or more absolutely gorgeous soul than this red-headed raven. For the longest time, he always wanted to impress Roxanne by making himself look cool. But in the end, it was just him being the silly little goof he was that won Roxanne over. Roxanne patted down the other side of the bed, and Max knew exactly what she wanted. He shut the door. Then he gave Roxanne a cold look. "You broke into my room," said Max ominously. Roxanne was definitely startled, but mostly confused. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... I just thought... Then Max flashed her a smile to let her know he was just joking. Roxanne sighed and rolled her eyes. Truth be told, Max did not expect anything like this. He and Roxanne did agree yesterday to do something tonight, but he thought it might just be dinner and/or movie. He never thought they'd jump right into getting snuggly-wuggly. "So what did you want to do tonight?" Max goofily asked. Even though he knew Roxanne was shy and very sensitive, he did like to play with her from time to time. Roxanne just kind of rubbed the back of her neck and shifted her eyes. "Well, I thought we could just..." Then Roxanne just turned from her side onto her back. She thought to herself, "You're so stupid, Roxanne. How long have you known Max? A week? Only 2 days if you count the days you've seen him, and you just thought you could just crawl into his bed and..." And that's when Max gently wrapped his arms around her and gave a big, loving kiss right on her lips. Roxanne's cheeks went completely red, and her shoulders nudged in close to her face. Then Max soothingly rubbed his thumb against Roxanne's little mole. As Roxanne looked into Max's eyes, she could feel all her insecurities disappear, if only for a moment. She didn't care if she only knew Max for a few days now. In that short period of time, she already knew that he was not like the other self-absorbed boys at school. Max Goof was a sweet, kind, loving soul who didn't care what anyone else thought. And with that, Roxanne kissed Max back, and the two wrapped each other in a loving embrace that lasted all night long. The two cuddled pups continued to sleep as the sun rose. Then Max woke to the sound of a menacing growl. He trembled. Before him stood a giant, gruffy beast that looked just about ready to gobble him up. Max laughed nervously and backed away from Roxanne, who still lay asleep. Then the beast noticed Max's shirt and pants lying on the ground. And then came the lunge. Max dodged, and the brute crashed into the bedside table, sending pieces of wood everywhere. That woke Roxanne. Max ran out of the room with his clothes and down the hall, the beast running after. "Daddy!" Roxanne called out to the giant. Max ran all throughout the house trying to get his clothes on, and the mongrel chased him, crashing into everything. The futon, the TV, the dinner table, the refrigerator, the sink. He even gave the laundry room a second doorway. Finally, Max was cornered in the linen closet. The monster raised its claws. Just as it looked like this was the end. "Bad Daddy!" shouted Roxanne. "Bad Daddy! Bad! Sit!" Roxanne's father did just as his daughter told him. Max fell on the floor, practically passing out. "Now what do you have to say for yourself?" Roxanne sternly asked her father, pointing to the mess made of the house. The gruffy pup whimpered and hung his head down. "Max, I'm really sorry," said Roxanne, highly embarrassed. "Don't worry about it," Max reassured, flustered. The three of them remained silent for a while, not knowing how to go about the situation. Max was clearly still reeling from almost being eaten. Roxanne felt incredibly disappointed that her perfect night was ruined by a raucous morning, and a quiet daddy gave Max a scowl, still wishing to take him down a peg. "I think I'm gonna go," Roxanne finally said. "Okay," Max replied, and Roxanne led her father to the front door, just about ready to teach him a lesson he wouldn't forget. Max didn't take his eyes off his ravishing redhead. He wished their day could last much longer. They exchanged one last look before Roxanne and her dad went out the door. Max caught an incredibly anxious look in Roxanne's eyes before she shut the door. Max just sat on the floor, thinking about everything that just happened. He began asking himself, would he and Roxanne be able to make it work? Would he eventually get eaten alive? Or would Daddy cook him first? No, Max told himself at last. He was going to make this work. Roxanne was the most amazing girl he'd ever known. He wouldn't want to be stuck with any of the shallow chicks who obsessed over their looks. Roxanne cared about him, and he knew it. Just then, who should come through the door? "Morning, son!" Max's father triumphantly exclaimed. Then he froze stiff at what became of his house. It was a bright sunny day in the park. Max sat on a bench with a great big view of the river. This is the perfect place for me and Roxanne, he thought. It was the day after the massacre of the amenities, and Roxanne had asked Max to meet her there. Max was really looking forward to it. A lot of the snotty rich kids always bragged about their shopping sprees and five-star reservations, but Max and Roxanne would get a cheerful day all to themselves for free. But then came Roxanne, sitting down next to Max, and judging by her face, it didn't look like things would be cheerful at all. "Hey, Max," Roxanne murmured. "What's wrong?" asked Max, without hesitation. Roxanne remained silent for a while. She knew she was going to have to tell Max sooner or later, but no matter how she said it, it wasn't going to be good. "Max," Roxanne's voice quivered. "I'm moving out of town. With Daddy." Max could feel his heart sink in an instant. He just stared at Roxanne, no words coming out. I just thought you should know, said Roxanne, getting up. Wait, wait, Max exclaimed. Roxanne, did I... Max didn't know how to say it. So many thoughts were racing through his head. Max, Roxanne bittersweetly whispered. Thank you. Thank you for everything. And she gave him one last kiss. Max stood there, dazed. By the time he came to, Roxanne had disappeared into the crowd. Roxanne? Roxanne! Max searched all around for his one true love, but it was like she vanished into thin air. As he stood aimlessly in the moving crowd, he could swear he saw two familiar faces from school. It was Chad and Lisa, perhaps two of the most punchable individuals anywhere in the world. Chad was the type to hit on Roxanne without any consent and laugh right in Max's innocent face. Lisa would date the most popular guy in school and then dump him for the next one. Max could hear them laughing, almost like they were making fun of the fact that he lost the girl who treated him so well. Max could feel his blood boil and his heart ache. The poor pooch hung his head in the middle of the crowd, surrounded, but all alone. Thanks for listening. I'll have Chapter 1 ready to you soon. Don't know when. Hopefully next weekend. We shall see. See ya.